What if I told you the biggest revolution on our roads isn't loud? It doesn't roar. It doesn't shake the ground. It simply switches on. For over 100 years, humanity relied on explosions to move forward. Tiny, controlled detonations firing thousands of times a minute, pushing steel and gasoline into a mechanical frenzy. That violent heartbeat defined our past. But now it's flatlining. In its place rises something colder, cleaner, faster, a new species of machine, born not from oil fields, but from microchips and algorithms. Look around. 10 years ago, EVs were punchlines, slow, fragile, niche. Today, they're outrunning Ferraris, updating themselves overnight and turning highways into test tracks for the future. This isn't a transition, it's a takeover. You're not just witnessing new innovations, you're watching the combustion era die and a digital automotive empire rise. So before we reveal the top 5 EV innovations shaping the next decade, make sure you're fully charged. Hit that like button and subscribe to Dravexa, because the future is accelerating and we're already in the fast lane. Now, let's talk about the Holy Grail. 1. The solid-state revolution. You know the lithium-ion battery. It's in your phone, your laptop, and yes, it powered the first Tesla Roadster. But it has a dirty little secret. It's wet. Inside those cells, ions swim through a liquid electrolyte. It's effective, sure, but it's heavy, it takes up space, and if you puncture it, it burns. It's volatile chemistry keeping you moving. Enter the solid-state battery. Imagine taking that sloshing liquid and replacing it with a solid ceramic or glass compound. It sounds like a minor tweak, mere chemistry class trivia, but this is where the magic happens. By removing the liquid, you remove the volatility. You stop the fire before it starts. But here is the real game changer that most people miss: the anode. In a standard battery, we use graphite anodes to store lithium ions. It's reliable, but it's bulky. It's like storing water in a sponge. With a solid electrolyte, engineers can ditch the graphite and use pure lithium metal. This is the difference between a sponge and a tank. The result? Energy density goes through the roof. We're talking about doubling the capacity in the same footprint. Imagine a sedan that currently struggles to hit 300 miles, suddenly cruising for 600 miles without adding a single ounce of weight. Range anxiety doesn't just decrease, it evaporates. And you know the dendrite problem? Those spiky, mossy lithium crystals that grow inside old batteries like roots cracking a sidewalk, eventually causing short circuits. Solid electrolytes block them physically. It's a concrete wall versus a tree root. This isn't just theory anymore. You might expect this to be vaporware, promising 5 years away for the last decade. But look at the landscape in 2025. Western giants like QuantumScape and Factorial are already putting B samples into the hands of Mercedes and VW. They're testing real packs on real tracks. But don't sleep on the East. While the West perfects the chemistry, China is scaling the factories, targeting nearly 700 gigawatt-hours of capacity. And we're already seeing the bridge technology on the road. NIO represents this shift perfectly, with their semi-solid 150 kilowatt-hour CACs already proving that 1,000-kilometer runs are possible on a single charge. The charging speeds? Forget an hour. Solid state allows for higher currents without the heat spike. We're looking at 0 to 80% in 10 minutes. That's not a charging stop, that's a bathroom and a coffee. The liquid era is evaporating. The solid future is hardening, and it's lighter, safer, and infinitely more powerful. 2. The 800-volt vanes. You have the battery, you have the holy grail of chemistry, but you still have a problem. You have to fill it. For a decade, the EV world was stuck in a 400-volt rut. Why? Because that was the industry standard. It was safe, it was known, it was off the shelf. The original Model S, the Nissan Leaf, they all played it safe. But as batteries grew massive, 400 volts hit a wall. it became a bottleneck. To understand why, you need to revisit high school physics for exactly 10 seconds. To get more power into the battery faster, you have two choices. You can crank up the current, amps, or you can crank up the voltage. Here's the trap. Current creates heat. It's inevitable. It's called joule heating. When you shove massive amps through a copper cable, that cable fights back. It gets hot. To stop it from melting, you need thick, heavy cables, garden hoses made of copper. That adds weight. That kills efficiency. So the engineers flipped the script. Instead of pushing harder, they pushed higher. Enter the 800-volt architecture. By doubling the pressure, voltage, you can cut the current in half and still deliver the same power. Or even better, you can keep the current the same and double the speed. This is the secret sauce behind the Porsche Taycan and the Hyundai Ioniq 5. While 400-volt cars are sitting at the charger for an hour, sweating heat, the 800-volt systems are sipping electrons at a blistering 350 kilowatts. We're talking about adding 60 miles of range in roughly 3 minutes. That's not a stop, that's a pause. And here's the hidden engineering genius you might miss. Wait. Because 800-volt systems use lower current, the cables inside the chassis can be thinner. In a world where engineers fight for every gram to increase range, shedding pounds of copper wiring is a massive victory. This shift mirrors the 1950s, when cars jumped from 6-volt to 12-volt systems to handle bigger engines and brighter lights. Now we're making the jump to 800. Lucid Motors is already pushing past 900 volts. By 2026, 800 volts won't just be for Porsches, it will be the standard for your daily driver. The 400-volt era is being relegated to budget city cars. High voltage, low heat, zero waiting. 3. The sleeping power plant, V2X. Now, take a step back. Look at your car. What is it doing right now? Statistically, it's parked. A car spends 95% of its life doing absolutely nothing. It's a depreciating asset taking up space in your driveway. But what if I told you that in 2025, your car isn't just a vehicle, it's a bank vault? This is vehicle to everything, V2X. Historically, charging was a one-way street. The grid fed the car. End of story. But with bidirectional charging, that street becomes a superhighway. The DC sitting in your battery can be inverted back into AC to power your toaster, your lights, or even the grid itself. Imagine this scenario. It's the middle of summer. Everyone turns on their AC at 5 p.m. The grid strains, the voltage sags. In the past, the power company would have to fire up a peaker plant, usually a dirty coal or gas generator, just to keep the lights on. But now, they send a signal to your car. Your EV, sitting plugged in at home, discharges 5% of its battery back into the grid. Now multiply that by 10 million cars. You have created a virtual power plant. You are stabilizing the grid, preventing blackouts, and here's the kicker. You're getting paid for it. This isn't sci-fi. In 2024, Ford, BMW, and Honda launched ChargeScape to make this a reality across North America. In Oakland, California, they deployed 74 electric school buses with V2G tech. Think about it. School buses sit idle all summer, exactly when the grid needs the most power for air conditioning. They became massive stationary batteries, earning revenue for the school district while they slept. And for you, the homeowner, it's security. A Ford F-150 Lightning carries about 131 kilowatt-hours of energy. The average American home burns 30 a day. That truck isn't just a truck, it's 4 days of power during a hurricane. The car is no longer just a machine that eats energy, it is a machine that trades it. It is an active node in the global energy web. If you're loving this deep dive into the hidden tech of tomorrow, hit that subscribe button for Dravexa. We don't just drive cars, we dissect the future. Now, let's move to the brain of the beast. 4. The unibody is dead. Long live the Giga. While you are looking at the sleek screens and the leather seats, the real revolution is happening where you can't see it. It is happening in the skeleton. For 100 years, building a car was like complex origami. You stamped sheet metal, you folded it, you used 1,000 robots to spot weld hundreds of little pieces together to make a frame. It was slow, it was heavy, it was a logistical nightmare. Enter the Giga press. Picture a machine the size of a small house, a beast capable of exerting 6,000 to 9,000 tons of clamping force. We aren't folding metal anymore, we are liquefying it. Automakers are taking molten aluminum and shooting it into a die at high velocity. Hiss, bang, done. What used to be 70 different parts welded together, the entire rear underbody of the car, is now one single piece. Tesla started this fire, but now the blaze has spread. Toyota, Volvo, Ford, they're all scrambling to buy these massive Italian-made presses. Why? Because it kills the complexity. It deletes 300 robots from the factory floor instantly. It is the industrial equivalent of decluttering your house with a flamethrower. But they didn't stop at the frame. They went for the heart, the structural battery pack. In the old days, read 5 years ago, you built a frame, you built a heavy box for the battery, and you bolted the box into the frame. It was redundant, it was heavy. Now, the battery is the floor. Think of it like an airplane wing. The fuel isn't carried in a tank inside the wing. The fuel is the structure of the wing. By gluing the cells directly into the chassis, the battery becomes a structural member. It makes the car stiffer, it makes the car lighter, and in the EV world, lighter means further. But there is a catch, a dark side to this monolithic manufacturing: repairability. If you get rear-ended in a traditional steel car, a mechanic cuts out the bad part and welds in a new one. Simple. But if you crack a Giga casting, you can't just patch it. You might have to write off the entire car. We're moving toward disposable chassis architectures, where insurance premiums might skyrocket just to cover the risk of a parking lot fender bender. The car is cheaper to build, but it might be costlier to keep. 5. The death of the button. Software-defined vehicles. If you bought a car in 2010, it was a finished product. The day you drove it off the lot was the best it was ever going to be. It began to rot, rust, and age immediately. The car of 2025 is different. It is a software-defined vehicle. It is a smartphone on wheels. The hardware is just a vessel. The software is the soul. And that soul can grow. To make this happen, engineers had to perform a lobotomy. Old cars used distributed architecture. If you wanted power windows, you added a computer, ECU, for the windows. If you wanted heated seats, you added a computer for the seats. A luxury sedan could have 150 different computers screaming at each other over miles of heavy, confused copper wiring. The new way is zonal architecture. Clean, centralized, ruthless. The car is divided into zones: front left, rear right. A massive central brain, essentially a supercomputer, makes the decisions. It tells the front left zone to roll down the window, and a simple local controller obeys. We are replacing miles of copper spaghetti with a high-speed Ethernet backbone. Why does this matter to you? Over-the-air updates. Tesla normalized it, but now everyone is doing it. Your car can download a new suspension tune while you sleep. It can patch a braking bug before you even wake up. It can use AI to listen to the frequency of its own motor bearings, predicting a failure weeks before it happens, and booking its own service appointment. But here's the friction point: the subscription economy. Because the car is software, features can be locked behind a paywall. We've already seen manufacturers experiment with renting your heated seats or your acceleration boost. You buy the hardware, but you rent the right to use it. It's controversial, it's dystopian, but it is inevitable. the convergence. So where does that leave us? You aren't just looking at 5 separate inventions, you're looking at a convergence. Giga casting makes the machine light enough and cheap enough to build. Solid-state batteries give it the range to cross continents. 800-volt architecture lets it refuel as fast as you can grab a coffee. V2X turns it into a power plant that protects your home. Software makes it an appreciating asset that gets smarter every day. The internal combustion engine had a good run. It moved the world for a century, but the torch has been passed. The electric future isn't a prediction anymore. It is cast in aluminum, it is coated in C++, and it's parked in your neighbor's driveway. The only question left is, are you ready to take the wheel? This has been Dravexa. We break down the machine so you can understand the motion. If you learned something new today about the grid, the casting, or the code, hit that like button and subscribe. Drive safe and drive electric.